Hello and welcome to Dark Souls Q&A episode 2. My name is Alex, or Mont, and last time we spoke about Felkin, and today we're going to be covering the Abyss and the Darklurker. So in some ways, a bit of a continuation from last time, not last week, insofar as Felkin certainly has an affinity with the dark. But whilst many things in Dark Souls are not just mysterious but indelible, the Abyss is one of the greatest questions the franchise has, in my opinion. It's also one that I get asked about quite a lot, so let's try and figure out what we can about the Abyss, and then we'll move on to the Darklurker, and hopefully my voice won't just explode and die as it feels like it's about to. Ingward tells us that the Abyss is a dark void wherein reside the dark wraiths. No place for normal mortals. But he suspects a way of traversing the dark is possible due to the legends of Artorias, and indeed, Artorias made a covenant with the beasts of the Abyss. What do you think? Is that Frampt or Karth, or perhaps Sif and Alvina or Manus? Who knows? Nowhere else in the game are Karth and Frampt described as beasts, I believe, but near always as serpents, toothy serpents. And we do know that Artorias had at least some form of bond with Sif and maybe Alvina, who aren't exactly normal animals, so I think it's a possibility at the very least. But what is the Abyss? Where did it come from? Elizabeth the Mushroom claims it was spawned by the ancient beast, and Hawkeye remarks that the dark emanates from Manus, the father of the Abyss. Putting two and two together, it seems obvious that Elizabeth is referring to Manus. He is the ancient beast that she spoke of. So, is Manus the furtive pygmy who found the Dark Soul? That is a fair assumption to make, and if he isn't, he is at least in some way connected to the pygmy. The pygmy, not, a pygmy. A primeval human, his humanity went berserk, seemingly transforming him into whatever the hell he's supposed to be now. So, the Abyss is a result of Manus, apparently. But if there are beasts of the Abyss, are they a result of that? Are they creatures that have naturally come to live in the Abyss? What about Karth, and what about Frampt? Serpents who appear to dwell in the Abyss and can traverse it freely. Primordial serpents implies they have existed as long as the dragons. But the Abyss surely hasn't. Were they instead dragons who were born into and mutated by the Abyss? As it appears, the Abyss does have a strange effect on those who dwell within it. Many characters doubt the ability to stop the Abyss, but it appears that defeating Manus does slow its spread. For upon his awakening, Manus began to spread the Abyss, consuming much of Ulasil in the process. I would venture to say that Manus does not deliberately or intentionally spread the Abyss, but who can know for sure? Upon his defeat, Manus was fragmented, but so too was the Abyss. What once was a great void of darkness became but fragments, but slowly the scattered fragments grew, absorbing all things. This is what Darkdiver Grandal tells us once we reach the first rank in his Dark Covenant. Beyond that, the wheelchair-bound sage offers us little clues. Only more questions. The dark is the mother of all things, he claims, a gentle embrace to absorb our sorrows. And he even claims that we need the Abyss, now more than ever. Why? How? What does it offer us beyond oblivion? Or is that indeed what he speaks of? And when he says, the dark is the mother of all things, do you think that has any bearing on, Nishandra and her sisters? Considering they are daughters of Manus, the father of the Abyss. You'd think it would make more sense to say the dark is the father of all things, or perhaps not, who can say? In the end, I'm afraid I don't have any definitive answers for you. The Abyss is a void that spreads like poison from Manus. Perhaps it is almost like humanity lava that slowly erupts from Manus and cannot easily be stopped. Think about Ceaseless Discharge, he's ceaselessly discharging lava, maybe Manus is discharging the abyss. With the defeat of Manus, he then split into his daughters, and it appears that the abyss split with him. And as the dark and hexes are so often associated with powerful emotions, each of those daughters of dark came to represent some of the most powerful emotions: desire, hatred, solitude, and fear. But there are other things to encounter within the abyss. The four kings, once human, who have since become ring-wraith-esque apparitions. And then there's the Darklurker, and that's who I was asked to talk about. So here goes. First up, you probably know what Darklurker is: an optional or secret boss that is fought at the end of the Pilgrims of Dark Covenant. But who is the Darklurker? We have precious little information. In fact, beyond Darklurker's soul, there's not really much to go on. Soul of what lurks in the Dark Chasm. The Dark Chasm of old is the remnant of some ancient, dissipated being. Use the special soul of what lurks within to acquire numerous souls or to create something of great worth. The Dark Chasm is home to a number of NPCs who resemble characters from the first game, such as Pavel, Ricard, and so on. So, who is Darklurker? Well, there are a few options that I can think of. First up, the Darklurker could be what became of the Four Kings. We know that the Lord Souls reincarnate in some form. Well, they don't reincarnate, but they come back. Seath, the Witch Viselith, Nito, and Gwyn all have some form of presence, or rather their Lord Souls do. But Seath's was but a fragment of Gwyn's, and the Four Kings also received fragments. Beyond that, the Darklurker has 4 arms, the ability to split in 2, and uses a mix of magical and physical attacks, much like the Four Kings do. He also shares a blue, ghosty tinge with them, although whereas the Kings looked rather demonic, Darklurker almost resembles an angel, or something quite holy. Next up, the Darklurker could be just a fragment of Manus. I do not think this is likely, given that the other fragments are all female and seem to represent something specific, but I suppose the Darklurker could be an empty husk that simply represents Manus's power, perhaps, some sort of leftover from when Manus was not a corrupted, gross, monkey demon thing, but closer to a human. Then we have the possibility that the Darklurker is the chosen undead from the first game, or simply a chosen undead who either succumbed to the dark, became the Dark Lord, or was lost in the abyss, or gave himself to the abyss. There's also the option that Darklurker is you, the bearer of the curse, the dark within you that must be defeated so you can truly become one with the dark, a mirror of yourself, so to speak, like Dark Link. Again, I don't really think that's the case, but I'm just, spitballing here. There's also Chester, Gwyn, and Solaire, but I don't really think any of them make much sense as Darklurker. In my opinion, Four Kings is the safest assumption there, but the fact that Darklurker is quite a well-hidden boss makes me feel like it should be something more of a revelation. If it's the Four Kings, that isn't really all that dramatic. All the same, I think that is the most suitable explanation for who Darklurker is, but I'm not remotely sort of set on that, and I'm sure that some of you guys will leave comments and theories about Darklurker which will change my mind, which is, part of the fun thing about this community. But what do you think? Who is the Darklurker? Something we knew of? Something entirely new? And what are your thoughts on the Abyss? Please do leave your thoughts on the matter, and any questions or suggestions for future topics in the comments below. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and take care. Hello and welcome to Dark Souls Q&A Episode 2. My name is Mont or Alex, and last time we spoke... God damn it.